If you didn't check out offthehooksports.com, you missed a little bit of breaking news, and that is just days ago, you had Peyton Lewis, Tennessee's running back, freshman running back, be completely cleared from, at first it was a pelvic injury and then it was a shoulder injury, but he's now completely cleared for contact. So today's tough question, and I'll make it our poll question in hour number 1, is this: who will be Tennessee's second leading rusher? We know it's Dylan Sampson, right?
Well, Dylan Sampson is going to be their second leading rusher.
Oh, whoa. What do we got here?
You just said his name. Peyton Lewis is going to be their leading rusher, guys. Peyton Lewis will be Tennessee's leading rusher. Dylan Sampson will be Tennessee's leading all-purpose yards getter among the running backs.
Okay, well, I want to talk rushing yardage for a second, because that's what these guys need to do. We've all seen this offense. Sure, they're going to catch some balls, but not as many with Nico as they did last year, because they're going to get the ball down the field. So I'm just talking rushing yards. Or do you want to go ahead and bet a steak dinner that Dylan Sampson has more rushing yards than Peyton Lewis?
Let's do it. I'll do a steak dinner right now. Peyton Lewis is taking it, but you got to give me good odds, because mine are like Vegas would set it at Dylan Sampson. So like if I win, you have to get me like Fleming's or like a good steakhouse. But if you win, I'll get you Texas Roadhouse.
Well, maybe if you sponsor the programs, let's be easy there. But Caleb, why are you taking me to Texas Roadhouse? Good morning to all of you on the message board. Me, Drinker, Derek, Jeremy Moore. Let's go. And I forgot to tell the story about a coach getting his hands on me. So remind me to do that at the end of the program. All right. So, and it was Mike Berry. But Caleb, again, I don't see how you can't go Dylan Sampson on this. And I would think that you might even mention somebody else, because Cam Seldon, who we both have questions about, but he's been on campus for a year. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that there is not going to be a player that steps in the running back position that doesn't know pass protection to the nth degree. And Peyton Lewis, in a story that I just wrote this morning that is on offthehooksports.com, said he's never even been in a pro-style system before. So pass protection is going to be, admittedly, a challenge for him. We've seen before, pass protection or lack thereof is the fastest way to the bench with Josh Heupel's offense. So I wouldn't pick a true freshman, even if I knew he had the ability of a Jamal Lewis. Why? Because back in 1998, they should have, but they didn't. They didn't start Jamal Lewis because why? They were afraid he didn't know pass protection and could get Peyton Manning killed. So I'm scared of a freshman in this offense with an elite quarterback.
That was 97, by the way, not 98, but
excuse me.
But, and you are right. And the funny thing is,
it's almost like I didn't write a book about it.
The funny thing about you saying that is that 97, and then they don't start Lewis, and then that 97 game against Florida, Peyton gets killed anyway. I mean, how many times did he get hit against Florida that day?
Yeah, and the players will tell you on that team that it wasn't a Mark Levine versus Jamal Lewis thing. It was the selection to not run the ball more. I think that was the bigger problem than who was back there. But obviously, it would be stupid to say Jamal Lewis shouldn't have been back there.
Right. So, okay. So getting to, I want to get to what we were talking about with Peyton Lewis and Dylan Sampson. Peyton Lewis doesn't have to be good at pass pro. He has to be base level average at pass pro, and he'll be significantly better than Dylan Sampson, who is air at pass pro. Okay. I think I can hold a block better than Dylan Sampson. I think I'd be willing to debate that. Now,
okay. He missed a couple. He did.
Cam Seldon may be better at pass pro than Peyton Lewis. I wouldn't deny that. He's older. He's got the worst vision of a running back I've ever seen since Trent Richardson. Okay? Stevie Wonder could find a hole before Cam Seldon does. I mean, Ray Charles could find a hole before Cam Seldon does. Okay? I'm sorry. Cam Seldon has the absolute worst vision in the history of running backs, or at least since Trent Richardson, in the history of Tennessee running backs. That's huge. So if Peyton Lewis, I do believe if Peyton Lewis has base level vision and base level pass pro, just like base level expectations of what you have when you arrive on campus, he would be the feature back. Dylan Sampson's not capable of being the feature back. He's too light. People are going to bring up Khalifa Keith. Khalifa Keith is too slow. He's the power back. He's what they did with Princeton Fant 2 years ago. That leaves only one option for the feature back, for the Jabari Small, for what Jalen Wright turned into. And that one option is Peyton Lewis. He was a 4-star for a reason. He's got athletic ability and he's physical. And I said from the start, Peyton Lewis will be a go-to, reliable, true freshman. Tennessee is going to turn to him as much as they turned to Boo Carter this year when it comes to true freshmen. And Peyton Lewis, it's funny, you talked about it, you just said it, shares the name of the greatest backfield duo in Tennessee football history, 1997.
That's true. I don't think that you're going to even get 20% of the vote because I put who will lead the Vols in rushing this season. Dylan Sampson, Peyton Lewis, Cam Seldon, or other. I'm trying to give you an opportunity to get a few votes. So I put other in there. That could be anybody. This might be the first time that somebody doesn't get a single vote. What happens when you don't have that single tool? Well, it needs to be in your truck. Work trucks, they are available to help you maximize profits by maximizing your time. The perfect work vehicle doesn't break down and has all the space to carry exactly what you need. And let me tell you something else. It's the Napide that has the work bodies there installed. Pickup trucks of all sizes, anything special. They've got dump trucks, they've got cranes, they've got it all. Remember, Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com, worktrucksllc.com. The wrong piece of equipment can burn time. With Work Trucks that a lot of these dealerships don't have, you can get it right there. Work Trucks will make sure you have the perfect vehicle you have to have. Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com in Birmingham and on Clinton Highway in Knoxville. Proud supporter of the Tennessee Vols. Okay, so who's third? Is Cam Seldon to you, and I think you would admit, people change. But to you, is it a done deal? He is absolutely never going to be a competent SEC tailback. You're done with it. You don't think it's possible. Tennessee will bring somebody else in that will take his spot. Is it that simple? By the way, you got some votes for Cam Seldon. Congratulations.
Yes, it's that simple. It's that simple. Here's whose third will be. So Peyton Lewis is the feature back. Dylan Sampson is the all-purpose back. Khalifa Keith is the power back. Therefore, Khalifa Keith will be third because of that.
Purely off ability, I really like what you said. I just don't think it'll happen. But if I could write the book, if I could write the preamble, that would be it. Those three guys. But what that would say is that Khalifa Keith is good enough to be a tailback, wherein I think he was supposed to be more of a power back in the Princeton Fant role when he went back in the backfield. And Caleb, I think that's asking a lot for when you say power back, are you saying only short yardage situations? Or are you saying he's in the game? Like, for instance, Jalen Wright was a powerful back, but I wouldn't call him a power back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Jalen Wright was a feature back. I don't think Khalifa Keith is really much of a feature back. They may use him sometimes, and they may use even Dylan Sampson as a change of pace. I do think that. But I think it's when you get inside the 10-yard line and whenever you have a 3rd and 2 or a 4th and 1, he comes in. That's what they're going to do. And so I think that's the way this is going to go. Now, caveat to this. I am going to throw a red flag out, which is that there's a chance that I evaluate talent better than Josh Heupel does. And because I told him, I said he should start Hendon Hooker over Joe Milton in 2021, and then he acknowledged I was right. He basically just listened to me, guys. Okay, so
exactly what he did. It's a huge
that's what he did.
Problem. But
I was proven right, and he was proven wrong on that, and he's the coach. So I evaluate talent better than him. So he may still start Seldon.
I think there are more things that go into being a running back than just running the football. For instance, Jabari Small was the guy in 2022. Why? Because Jalen Wright had a problem with holding on to the football. So I think, and he was hurt at the beginning too, and he never kind of got in a flow. That's the other thing about this offense that is kind of strange, Caleb, is with this offense, it feels like if you're not on board by the middle of camp, that the offense might just leave you behind.
Yes, I think they
Like
could too.
Kind of like Dante Thornton didn't get really in the flow and involved, if that makes sense. Whereas Jalen Hyatt was ready to go. It just feels like that Josh Heupel is going to lean on his 11, and that's where he's going to go.
No, I think that's a very good point. Barring injury, that's exactly what will happen. Now, if there's injury, that changes. I think Brew McCoy really emerged in 2022 because Cedric Tillman got hurt, and that was an adjustment. But I do think you're right. You don't have a 2001 Kelly Washington, who came in midway through the season and then just became a superstar immediately. But again, that was partially because Dante Stallworth got hurt. So maybe that's not even a fair comparison. But with injuries, it does happen. I think Heupel last year, and this is why I'm critical of him with the Joe Milton thing, I think that led to, I don't think Heupel was ever able to find who he wanted his go-to receivers to be last year. And it hurt him that Brew McCoy got hurt, and then Dante Thornton got hurt, and Ramel Keaton couldn't be the dictate coverage wide receiver. So there were a lot of things that worked against him last year. But I think this year, yeah, he's going to find his rotation in camp. Jabari Small, all right, Jalen Wright never got going in 2022, but remember, the offensive line was really good in 2022, and Jabari Small has solid vision and picks up pass pro. And the thing is with Heupel's offense, he's a physical offense, and they rely on the run game. But the talent doesn't have to always be there in the run game. Is that fair to say? Is that a weird thing to say, Dave? It's like you have to have a base level. You have to be decent. You don't have to be great. The offensive system alone will allow you to be very good if you just hit basic vision and pick up pass pro. The receivers and the offensive line and the quarterback are what have to be great in this system.
Okay, so there is a bit of a debate. Dylan Sampson getting 70% of the vote. Peyton Lewis, Cam Seldon both getting 14% of the vote. No other. My question is, could you see?
Question.
I mean, Peyton Lewis as a if he starts the season. I'm sorry, if he doesn't start this season, I just wonder how he'll get into the flow. However, one thing we do know is it's not all Dylan Sampson. I'll say this from talking to Peyton yesterday. That's a real, I mean, his size is real. He's listed at, I think, 6'1", 220. That's no exaggeration. The guy physically from the neck down looks like a Jamal Lewis. I'm not saying he runs like him, but to Caleb's point, he was as highly rated a running back as they possibly can be. So there you go. Now, somebody asked for that story about a coach putting his hands on me. Do you want to hear that story, Caleb? But it doesn't need to be repurposed or content bashed. I don't need to send this out because Mike Berry may be somewhere and he may.
No, I just want to point out, because people, before you do that, because people worry about running backs all the time and freshman running backs. Arian Foster, when he filled in for Gerald Riggs in 2005, was the one bright spot of Tennessee's offense. Remember that?
Oh, I don't argue that it's the easiest to step in and just run the football, but it's not as easy to hold on to the football when men are trying to tear it from your arms, and it's not as easy to pass protect in a difficult system and also with men running at your quarterback. So that, to me, is the significant difference.